Hello and welcome back, everyone, to session 22 of our Pathfinder campaign. How's everyone doing?
I'm
Good.
good.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
I'm
good.
all right. I'm a little bit sleep deprived, but I will be fine.
Mood.
Some of the greatest works in history have been done slightly sleep deprived. So
Exactly.
you're in
Well,
good company, Mike.
most of the last few years of us playing D&D has been done sleep deprived. So it's
That's why
fine.
it's so good.
Exactly, so-
Imagine what you could do with a full night's sleep.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm Samson. Sleep is my power. I don't know. Anyway, so if everyone is ready, I know Richard is currently mid popcorn making, but if everyone is ready to get cracking, then let us begin. Let me turn Bardley on. That's probably a good shout. All right. So last we left off, the party, who still remain unnamed, arrived at the city of Kelrius, an ancient city once made by the elves and lived in for thousands of years by them. Had been since taken over by the humans a couple of decades before the campaign started. So you arrived at the city to try and facilitate some meeting with a bunch of High Lords in Akate, the main island in Adana. And you met with the merchant prince, who told you that he wasn't really that prepared to offer that much help when it came to the civil war that's brewing between the banking guild and the Adana Merchant Company. The reason for that is because he's suspicious that House Ignis, one of the largest and most powerful houses of the elves, is preparing a fleet that is potentially big enough to threaten Kelrius. And he is suspicious that if he was to send troops away, they might take their opportunity to strike. So in secret, he had also, you discovered, been building a secret weapon out of his paranoia for the elves, a clockwork dragon, which was being made in a lab underneath the holy mountain of the elves, just outside the city walls. And when you went down there and were brought down there by a person working on this project by the name of... Hang on, let me just...
Altair?
Altair, thank you. She told you that she had a change of heart, and the procurement of a dragon's brain, which was powering the machine, made her really start to have second thoughts about using such a powerful and amazing creature. So she asked for your help, as people who aren't from the city, who are outsiders, to help her, as she figures that you will probably cause less of a fuss if she was to do it. And Cyan volunteered, with the arrangement that the dragon would be woken up and spoken to. So Cyan and the lab technicians woke up the dragon for the first time, and you discovered that it was a dragon named Arakin, who had a few hundred years ago been killed by Daeron Kaidas, one of the High Lords of the High Lord of House Kaidas, one of the most powerful men in the whole of Adana, most powerful elves. And the dragon wants his revenge. So, standing before you, Cyan, the clockwork dragon, after having just knocked out one of the lab technicians, is bracing against its chains as the walls and the roof of the cavern is shaking and dust is crawling down. He looks over at you, and you hear the sort of sound of clinking metal echoing through the chambers as his sort of clockwork robotic eyes lock onto yours. He says, "I see you, Azira. Where you hide yourself from the world, I can feel your anger bleed through. Do you not feel the same way for elves as I do? We're both unwanted in this land, hunted like animals. But our strength is unmatched, our power undeniable. Free me, and you will have your vengeance. I guarantee it."
Arakin. I have immense hatred, but not for a whole creature, not a race. It's there are you and your kind were hunted out of hatred, and I will not do the same to them. I need you to understand this. What has happened to you is a grave injustice, but I need you to listen to me.
You want me to die? He like sort of looks at you and he says, "What would you have me do? Curl up, let what happened be gone, resign
No.
myself to history."
No, Cyan's going to sit down.
Okay.
What I want is an end to all of this. I want an end to murder, to slavery, to genocide. Arakin, look at yourself. You're not flesh. You're not blood. If I lose an arm, it's gone. You lose your legs, your wings. They can cripple you. They can tear your wings from your body. Carve out pieces of your mind and control you like a dog. I know dragons are beings of might and pride, but they can do this to you easily. I woke you up to help you realize this, that in truth, all that will happen is you will be crippled and shackled. And used to murder and kill. If you fly out of this mountain now and you attack Kaidos, you are nowhere near as powerful as you were. He killed you once. Him and his army can kill you again, or worse. And if you stay, the human lord here will carve out pieces of your mind and make you his slave. There is only one way out for you to preserve your dignity. Choose an end to all of this, and I swear to you, I will hunt down Kaidos myself and avenge your young.
Make a diplomacy check.
I'm using a legend point, I did remember.
Okay. Alright, go ahead. Make a roll.
Okay. Public or?
Yeah, make it public. Basically, you just add 10. Just effectively add 10 to whatever it is.
I did click roll.
Oh yeah, it's going.
23?
Just thinking. He stops for a moment. The chains around his arms and legs sort of, their tension slackens, and they sort of loosen. The heavy chains thud on the ground. He just sort of like lowers his head, almost like defeated. Like he looks around, especially at a lot of the lab technicians who are cowering in fear. And then he turns and looks at you. He says, "Maybe that's the choice you would make, but I would rather fight my way out." He opens his mouth, and you see all of the sort of cogs and coils in his neck all begin to tense as he sat there in front of him. He opens his mouth as if he's about to try and blow fire on you. but nothing comes out. He sort of like is straining as if he's like used to using it in a certain way. And then he slams his mouth shut like inches from your face. And as you look up, you notice that he's like there's like sparks coming off him. There's like electrical arcs, and he looks like he's stunned somehow. You hear one of the lab technicians gasp, and you look over to one of the other entrances to the cave, and by the doorway there's a few guards who have like slammed this lever down that's just like shocking the dragon.
Is there just one of the guards?
No, there's like a few guards now coming in. You notice also walking through the door at the same time is Merchant Prince Taran Els, who says, "What is the meaning of this?" The dragon collapses on the ground, now turned off. Althea sort of takes a step back and says, she's like looking for a way to escape, but there's no.
I would like to stand in front of her between her and the Merchant Prince.
Okay. Let's go to what the rest of you do. So you all sort of left like a few moments before. So you've heard the cave beginning to shudder and creak, and you've seen above you, like in this narrow exit you're going through, like cracks beginning to appear in the rock.
Run away.
You can hear sort of commotion coming from inside. Are you going to continue going out, or are you going to go back towards where Vinale was?
Gonna run away.
I think I'm leaving.
You're all leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
heading
out. We out of 5,000.
Very well. So, in that case, the guards rush up to you, Vinale, and they're going to just try and grab you and just like arrest you. Like, are you fighting, or are you trying to run away, or?
Cyan's going to yell out, "Is this really what all of those who died would wish of you? You saw what happened at the Dancing Coast. You saw what this can wreak. Are you just going to sit by and be another Pietro, you fool?"
The guards put a hood on you and then start escorting you out. The last thing you sort of see of the Merchant Prince is he's sort of looking very disappointed. All right, well, let's go to the party then. On the way out of the sort of back into the city, as you're coming from a slightly different road, you sort of you see a bunch of guards, and you see Cyan being carried through the main gate as you're sort of approaching. So you now know he's in the he's been arrested effectively. You see the Merchant Prince in a carriage behind as well, just sort of like looking a bit dejected.
Well, not entirely unexpected.
Hey. What has he done?
Gotten himself in a lot of trouble by the looks of it.
You know, we should put him on a leash. Well, this puts us in a tricky position now, though. What do? We buy him out, we try and beg and go on the ground to him, or do we just leave?
I feel like we can't just leave.
I mean, we could, but... I take your point. It would prove him right on so many accounts about me.
Yes, we both know we don't want that.
That is terrible.
Well,
please, Cassifer.
I don't know. The only thing I feel like we can offer here is to take him out of this city.
I do fear that the information he has is not something the our dear Merchant Prince would be too pleased. He was going around telling to people.
I think they're just gonna kill him. Is there any way we could maybe, I don't know, rescue him and then leave?
A
don't
rescue
know.
mission.
I mean, I don't know if they'll kill him. After all, he was sent by Axos.
I don't want to really do a rescue mission that involves killing guards, though. And Cyan
need
was
to
the
kill
sneaky
anyone.
one, because, you know, they're just doing their job.
We don't need to kill anyone. We can simply act our way in. Kind of looks at Cassius, you know? Quite the charismatic one.
Well, I take your compliment, but the problem here is that we are going to go in and what? We're going to put a... I do not which are. We sweet talk our way out. I mean, we could try.
Perhaps we could create a distraction.
Oh,
And
this is...
if they know that we know about the dragon, I say with air quotes, then they might kill us too.
Well, truth be told, I do not think we can do anything rash here, otherwise we jeopardize the integrity of our diplomatic standing. I think we have to do this by the book and as open as possible. A quid pro quo or something like that. I think anything less will be deemed as a reproach, subterfuge, a betrayal, and would not look good for our standing and could push them further towards Elise, which would be not good. I think we just have to be honest and just say he is an idiot.
Well, yes, that would be very honest.
I think we let his rage die down, though. I think we go tomorrow morning.
Well, I think both of them are going to need time to cool off a little bit. Cyan and Taran.
Fine. I do not disagree there. So I suggest we head there tomorrow. Aye.
I mean, do we go back to where we're staying? I feel like
I suppose.
they're going to come looking for us, and
Aye,
All our stuff's there.
it's not really a good look if we're not there.
we have done nothing wrong.
I mean, we did let it happen.
I did not let anything happen. I walked away.
Yeah, but
I don't think this is really our fault.
look, I know he got himself in this mess, but
I will quite happily say that I was approached by a random woman. She said there is a big threat. We went to investigate. She told us about the dragon. We said we're not interested. Not our problem. This is an issue for them to sort out domestically. I do not think we did anything wrong.
I don't know. I think we all knew what he was going to do, and we just sat and let him do it.
That is not our problem, no.
It is if the merchant prince thinks like that.
Well, we do not know he thinks that way.
We don't know, but we have to be prepared for if he does.
Well, then what do you propose? We just leave?
I'm not sure what I'm proposing at the moment. I'm just trying to talk this through. Trying to account for every eventuality.
Well, you are never going to be able to do that. There is too many variables in the world. You can just control your own and do the best you can.
What do you reckon we should do then? What do you think he's gonna? What do you think he's gonna think?
I think he's going to be annoyed, slightly embarrassed, angry, fearful. I think if you go in and... I think he will be suspicious of us, sure, but I do not think we should not do it. If we just leave right now, that looks even worse. It pulls him closer to Elise,
Yeah, it doesn't look great on us as well. I mean, this is
No, but-
our it's our first visit.
Yes, I dread to think what he would do in each other one. We are a team. I don't know if we have a silly name for ourselves, but nonetheless, we are a
Not
team. And
yet.
we should have.
Name
Yeah, I think everybody should have a voice and a vote. That felt very strange saying. I do not what possess me. Hanira, what do you think?
I think we should go talk to the merchant prince tomorrow. See what they're gonna do with Cyan. See, disappointed in him for just like betraying the group and doing, even though we told him not to. But I don't think that should mean he should die. Like, he said we were friends, and then he just doesn't listen to us.
I understand. I mean, it is tricky. Friends are very tricky. It's so much easier when you can tell them what to do.
I get the impression he's not really accustomed to working with a group.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Okay. Thank you for your voice. Henning, what do you think?
I agree with Fanera. We go tomorrow. I think if we go now, it's just going to make everything worse. I mean, everyone needs time to cool off. Then we can go and see what their plan for it is.
Yeah, I definitely don't want them to kill him.
No, I don't think any of us want to do
I think we've got.
We may have to convince them not to.
I think we've got some time on that at least. After all, he's sent by Axos, so he's got some amount of protection there. They've got to go through proper process.
Preferably, we need to get there before Taran potentially sends a message to Axos to say that Cyan has done something.
I think there is little we can do about that. I think it would look strange if we tried to influence that process.
I mean, if we could get to Taran tomorrow before he does that.
Well, we do not know. He may have already done it.
True. It'll take time for that message to get there.
I do not dispute that, but I am not going to get on a ship to stop a message.
No, I know.
So I think we all agree. Best chance is seeing him in the morning, not skipping town.
Oh no, we're not skipping.
Question is, where do we go tonight? Because I feel like if we go back to where we're staying, there's going to be guards waiting for us.
Well, why don't we have a look? We can be careful.
Yeah, I can be invisible.
That's good for you, but...
And then I can go ahead and have a look, and then come back.
Okay, yes, that does make more sense.
But what's our story? Do we know what happened?
No, we be completely honest here. I think it would be silly not to. We say a woman approached us. She said there was a terrible thing in the mountain. That was a great threat to this area, and we went to investigate. That is in our nature. We are part of the Adventuring Guild. I think that is a very normal thing to assume. We went there. She showed us the dragon. The dragon was, we did not know what to make of it, but it's not our problem to fix. So we said no and walked away. We did not realize that Cyan was going to do what he did. We never said he was going to do that. We have plausible deniability there. And then we just play it out. I think we be dishonest here. It does not help anyone. There were lots of witnesses there.
I mean,
That's true. There were lots of other people there. Engineers, is that what they called them?
I do not know what I mean.
something like that. But there is, but most of that, more or less, is what happened. There's just one bit I take issue with, and that's saying that we didn't know what we was going to do.
Well, we did not. That is something that sits in our brain.
That maybe we couldn't be sure, but, and, like you say, plausible deniability, of course. But you and me know that's still a lie.
It is fine. I can very happily sleep with that one. I have done plenty worse in my time.
I'm sure you have.
Okay, so are you what's the plan for tonight for you guys? Are you just gonna get some rest and pop in and see the merchant prince tomorrow?
Well, so I think Hanira's going to go. We're going to see if we can try and rest at the inn, but I think Hanira's going to go there first. And just check whether or not there's guards waiting for us. If there's not, I think we just go back because I think anything else looks dodgy.
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll skip over to Cyan for a bit. So Cyan, the guards take you hooded onto a cart and then into the city. You hear the clopping of the hooves of horses that are carrying you on the cart. A whole bunch of people murmuring around you. People on the sides of the streets sort of whispering amongst each other, saying, "I heard it's an elf who got caught doing something bad." Things like that. Eventually, you are led, what you imagine is in the Shining Spire, down a sort of quite narrow staircase, still with a hood on your hands and two guards either side of you. Before you, the hood is taken off your eyes, and you're thrown into a cell in the dungeons. after they leave and lock it up, it's very dark down here. There's like one candle at the end of the corridor. It's like a barbed iron cell. There's like a candle at the end of the corridor that bleeds a little bit of light into your room, so you sort of have an idea of what's going on around you. It's a very bare stone sort of cell, not very big, maybe about sort of 10 feet by 10 feet, maybe at max. There's like a little hole in the corner for you to do your business in, and then there's like a bedroll on the other side of the room. Nyx appears and says, "Oh dear."
Oh dear, indeed.
What are we doing? This isn't the first time we've been in a cell.
I doubt it'll be the last either. Or it might be the last. Depends on the merchant prince.
He didn't seem very happy.
No.
And the dragon. That dragon's still there.
Yeah.
There's a clanking of keys in the door leading to the corridor that's near the cell. You imagine it's a guard, but the person who opens the door and closes it softly behind themselves is moving very soft-footedly. You can just barely hear the pitter-patter of their boots walking. And like carrying a torch, going up to the bars of the cell that you're in, you'll see peering through is Cadell, saying, "I hear you've gotten yourself in some trouble."
I take it you already know of the nature of the trouble.
Yes. It is I who informed the merchant prince.
Cadell. What are you?
He sort of laughs and says, "I am the Padrin's wit. I am his most loyal servant."
You know, that's not what I'm asking.
He smiles at you, but with the torchlight glaring on his face, and his eyes flicker again. He says, "What one is a matter of how they present."
I don't think that's true. There's always some part of you that shines through.
Well, what do you think? What do you see when you see me?
Someone who's had to hide for so long that he's forgotten who he is.
He raises an eyebrow. And what does that say about you?
All my people knew was hiding. It's torture. I long for a day where all I can do is show everyone who I truly am, but we're not there yet.
Cadell reaches into his cloak and pulls out a skin of water, a water skin, and hands it over to you.
I take a swig.
He nods. Yeah, it's refreshing. They didn't give you any water when you're in here. You know how long you might be down here without. He says, "I could let you out."
You could. You're not going to. If I leave, this comes down on me. This comes down on every elf here. This comes down on my friends.
I could make it
take
so. He looks at you and says, "I could make it so no one has to know."
No more hiding.
Very well. He sort of begins to turn around, and over his shoulder he looks back at you and says, "You don't have to hide forever. Take that from me." He says, "Don't drink at all. You might need it for a while." And turns around and goes back out through the door. Closes it behind him.
I take another swig and just kind of. There's not a window or anything.
No, you're in the you're in the dungeons. There is the sound of rats scurrying nearby. That's the only sort of natural experience you're having.
Yeah.
Okay, so the night goes on. The party then, in that case, you arrive at the sort of edge of the court, the Silverleaf Inn, sort of the park outside it. You notice there's a couple of guards stationed outside the inn itself when you get there. They haven't noticed you.
Is there a way we can go around the back?
There is a back entrance. You've never gone through it.
Can we try that?
Yeah, to get there, you kind of have to like try and sneak past the guards. Sort of go around the back of the inn.
Well, I'm not sure about. I mean, look, what happens if we sneak in? They know. Well, they're gonna think we just happen to like teleport in or something.
I do not think that sneaking is a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we need
I
to
could
do
always
this
go and
above
talk
board.
to them.
They have no power. They will have an order. What can you offer them to not follow that?
I'm just gonna go and walk into the tavern as confidently. How does that sound?
Confidently.
Yeah, like I have no idea why there'd be guards there.
Alright, make a deception check. Or performance, whatever you prefer.
I'm not in eyesight. I'm backing off a little, to be honest.
Okay.
18.
18. Alright, so you're walking up to the guards, just without a care in the world. Doo-doo-doo. As you walk up to the front door, the two guards sort of cross their halberds amongst the precipice of the doorway and sort of block your entrance. One of them says, it turns to you, Hanira Trusfer.
That's me. How could I help?
You are required to remain inside the inn for the foreseeable future under house arrest.
Okay, I guess I'll do that then. I like call the rest of the group.
It's just like turns around. The two guys look at each other, and they open up their halberds and let you in. You notice that there's a few elves, because this area is a very elven area. There's a few elves like starting to get a bit aggy that there's just guards like hanging out here, but outside the inn. And like a few elf kids are starting to like shout at them and tell them to go away.
Nice.
And the guards are sort of getting a bit anxious. But as you go into the sort
Sorry, as we go past, can I just be like, you guys going to be out here for a while? Do you want a drink?
no, thank you. He says, we don't drink any of this elven shit anyway.
Yeah. Suit yourselves.
Okay, so you go in the inn. There is Erenwyn. Is the barkeep. She looks over to you and says, what have you done now? There are guards posted outside my inn.
We haven't done anything.
We didn't do anything. It was Cyan.
Our travel companion has let his idealism get in the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. May I?
He's been arrested.
How do you know he's been arrested?
I just figured he's not with you. And there's guards telling you that you're under house arrest.
I do not know what he has done or where he is, but quite frankly, I would just like a drink if that is okay, and for your troubles, I will give you a bit extra. How about that?
Very well. You can have a bottle. She reaches
Right.
onto the counter and brings out a nicely bottled elven wine. It's sort of like got like a light blue hue to it, and it's got like little sparkly flecks in it.
Really?
Yeah, she says it's on the house for your troubles.
No, it is very kind of you. Pops open the cork, has a look inside at the kind of consistency, and then just gives a swig.
Erwin goes. So someone, as you're sort of beginning to go up to your rooms, Erwin. Sorry, Joanne. You
Can you hear me breathing?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
What? It's literally as far away from my mouth as it possibly can be without being muted. I don't understand.
Maybe angle it like up slightly so it's not in the path.
It is up.
You can
It's like by my eyes.
you can change
Oh.
the voice settings on Discord to like change the noise gate threshold maybe.
I'll just
Anyway.
mute myself.
So, yeah, sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah, so as you're beginning to walk up to your rooms, you notice that another elf that's in the inn goes up to Erwin and they sort of like glance over at you and sort of have a bit of a conversation as you're going up the stairs. And then the elf that she's talking to is sort of maybe. It's quite hard to tell how old he is, but he doesn't look too old. He looks, if he was a human, maybe in his 20s or early 30s. Wearing a sort of black kind of hood with like elven, like leafy green like stitches in it. And they sort of have a bit of a talk. And Hanira, you speak Elven, right? Does anyone else speak Elven in the group except for Cyan?
I don't.
Just Hanira.
Not me.
Can you make me a perception check? So just hear this. As you
Oh,
unfortunately, it's quite hard to make out what they say. You can tell that they're speaking Elven. They're saying they're definitely talking about you. You don't really know what. And as you sort of begin to go up the stairs, the guy that she's been speaking to like goes out the front door and leaves. But you go up to your rooms.
Does anyone else notice that?
Only Hanira does because she can hear them speaking Elven. But as for everyone else, it's sort of like it just sounds like she's just talking to another patron. That being said, you make your way to your rooms. Yeah, what do you fancy doing for the night? You're under house arrest, so not much you can do to leave. Unless you wanted to sneak out, of course.
No, I don't think so. At least Cascus doesn't.
Yeah,
If anyone else has anything else.
don't think there's really anything for Calcifer.
I don't want to sneak out. I'm too
Okay.
scared.
That's all cool. In that case,
Polish his armor.
we'll
Good,
just go
nice
to the
and
next.
sparkly.
We'll just go to the next day then, shall we? Right. So the next day passes. Cyan, you have obviously a rather uncomfortable sleep on basically a bedroll lined with hay or straw.
just like home.
And as predicted, they didn't give you any water all night. So the water skin by the end of the night is getting empty. But the next day comes. As for the party, so in the morning there is a knocking on all of your doors, and there are guards in the corridor, saying that the merchant prince wishes to speak with you.
I'm sure he does. Come on then, let us make this as pleasant as possible for everyone.
Okay, so as you're being escorted out of the front of the inn, there's maybe like 10 guards that and a couple of horse and carts that have rolled outside. And there's like a crowd of elves who are sort of jeering at the guards who are like, because there's obviously quite a few guards here. You're obviously being escorted without you're not allowed to take any of your weapons with you, obviously. they just want to put you in the carts and take you to the Merchant Prince.
Mhm.
As the carts are beginning to roll off, a few of the elves begin pushing against the guards, and a sort of bit of a scuffle is starting to break out. One of the guards sort of spits on the floor near one of the elves, and one of the younger elves like picks up a stone and like throws it at one of the guards, and it just bounces off his hood, and the guard is like sort of wrestling with the crowd a little bit. And one of the captain of the guards who is sat in the carriage with that you're all in, he mutters under his breath, "Elven scum."
Happen often? Can we talk to him or not?
You can talk to him. You're not like you don't have like a rope in your mouth or anything.
Does that happen often?
It's getting worse and worse.
Ah,
They're just looking for trouble.
of course they are. They are elves after all. Hmm?
The guard looks over to Hanira and sort of nods.
Just ignore it.
So you're just going to go with them, are you? Yeah.
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 Okay. So the cart goes over to the Shining Spire, and you are once again led. This time, rather than freely, you're led sort of with an escort of guards around you, up to the Merchant Prince in the throne room, who's standing there. And by his side, there's a couple of guards holding a sort of quite dirty and quite sleep-deprived looking Cyan, with chains sort of around his arms and legs. And Merchant Prince Taran, sat on the sort of kind of driftwoody throne thing. He looks over at you all quite nervous, like at first, like he's sort of biting his lip a bit, just trying to suss you out. And he stands up and says, "Is there anything you have to say about what happened?"
Please, can we have our friend back?
Just looks, double takes at Hanira with a slight like, "What the fuck?"
Well, that was certainly a way to begin that conversation.
Right, he says.
Excuse me, what she was trying to say is that there has been a bit of a problem here between us, and trust me, I am just as keen as you are, I am sure, to resolve this nice and quietly and as easily as possible for everyone.
Nice and quietly.
Well, of course.
You intend to let people know about what happened?
I have no intention. I do not know about him. He points at Cyan.
Right, well that would make it more likely that I should execute him then.
Science specs.
Interesting negotiation tactic there, Cassius.
Well, look, he is, how do we say, idealistic, naive, and brash, and this is his first time doing it. He clearly got a bit carried away last night, But I assure you that the rest of us here, we were very keen to walk away and not get involved. This is your thing, not ours.
I concur. They left. I was the only one doing
You'll
that.
have your chance to speak soon, elf, he says.
Diane is just cackling.
Oh, can you? Oh my god! Oh, goodness.
He looks up and just goes, "What is it that you all want, really?"
I think we made our intentions pretty clear last time. We have been sent on a mission to try and convene some kind of unity amongst these people, amongst you all, to stop catastrophe happening to you. I think we have made that pretty clear yesterday. None of that is not true.
Make me a diplomacy check, Cassius.
Fine. Sorry. Diplomacy. Yoink. I might have put on like hidden or something. I did a private roll, but that's okay.
Can you see it?
I can't, no.
Right, you got 17.
Too bad.
The merchant prince looks confused. He says, you say you want to avert catastrophe, and yet the only weapon that we have that will truly be able to protect ourselves from the elves for the long run, you've tried to sabotage. You think I didn't know about the dragon brain? About its history?
Quite frankly, Your Excellency, I do not know of this dragon brain you speak of, and I do not honestly care much for it. What you choose to do with your empire, quite frankly, is for you. Not your empire, sorry, I meant to say city. Is for you, and I understand that you are very nervous, elves, and I can see where you are coming from. I suppose there is a little bit of collateral risk having elves in our party that we had not taken account for a little bit of, how do I say, pushback. But this will not be a trend, and we intend to leave your city as fast as we can, and for this not to be a problem.
He turns to Cyan and says, "And you? Have you got anything to say for yourself?"
What could I say? If I walk out of here and let you go around doing what it is you're doing, innocent people die, or you cut off my head and innocent people die. Quite frankly, I think you're a bigot.
No.
Oh no.
If I may speak, my prince, you turn around and you see Cadell walking into the throne room. He says, I understand that under better circumstances, the extent of the treachery that has been committed here would consider that you would consider the death penalty for. I have a potential other solution that might solve your problems and get rid of Cyan from this city, and you will not have to reckon with the Merchant Prince Axos's vengeance. And Taran turns around and says to him, "And what is that? What do you mean?" And he says, "I have a diplomatic mission coming up to the Emerald City. I have on good authority that Cyan Venael is a person of interest to the Padrin. If I could have leave to escort him and his party to the Emerald City, then you will not have to worry about them, and the Padrin will take personal responsibility for his life from then on." And Taran says, "You were talking about some sort of servitude? I didn't think the elves did that." And Cadell says, No. The Padrin's wisdom is unmatched. It is hard to explain, but I guarantee that it will not affect any diplomatic relationships with the elves that we have already procured. If you were to set him free. The Merchant Prince turns to the rest of you and says, "I expected more from all of you. I did not intend to use the dragon. I intended to just have it merely ready for in case I did need it, in case we were double-crossed by the elves. And this is something that Cadell and the Padrin have been in communication with me about. They know about this. So next time, before you try to interfere with anything that you don't understand, think twice." He nods to the guards, and they sort of begin to unshackle Cyan. You're not really welcome in this city anymore, but I will not banish you from it. But if you know what's good for you, you will not commit any more crimes here, and you'll move on swiftly.
Cyan gives the most sarcastic bow that he could possibly muster.
You can see
Of
Cadell sort of like
course.
scratching his temple a little bit.
Yeah, Calcifer's
Are you
just
sure
like,
you don't want
just,
it?
like, kind of rubbing his temple. Yeah, just like rubbing his temple.
Terran says, "You've got friends in high places, Cyan. Your luck will not last forever. Understand that." He says to the rest of them, "Get them out of my sight. I don't want to see them around anymore. Feel free to stay in your little elf hovel, but the shining spire is closed to you all." And he turns around and kicks you all out. The guards begin to escort you.
Little elf hovel. I like that.
As the guards are escorting you out, sort of you've got this awkward walk of shame where Cyan is kind of walking next to you all, and like, it's like there's like a tension.
Yeah. Okay. Cascus just like walks sort of ahead and does not speak to say anything to them.
As you are leaving, and walking out through the main entrance, Cadell walks alongside you, Cyan, and says, he says, "I would take it in stride." He just starts laughing.
Now, when you say I'm a person of interest, what do you mean?
There's only one way to find that out, Cyan. You should come with me.
Are the others coming with?
Of course, they're all invited. The show will be fantastic.
You know what I am. I rager. I'm not going to be beheaded over there, am I?
If I wanted you dead, Cyan, I would have
You'd
just
have poisoned
left
that water skin.
you. I am not a poisoner.
Yeah, well. Different strokes for different folks.
He turns to the rest of you. You've sort of been murmuring amongst each other, and he turns to the rest of you before you part ways with him and the rest of the party, and he says to the rest of you, "I hope that if you need anything, you can always contact me."
Of course. Well, thank you very much for getting Cyan out of that predicament.
Yeah, apparently you've got quite the tongue on you there. You can talk out. You can talk someone out of someone that don't even seem to want to get out of themselves.
I know merchants very well, human merchants. I've made many deals with them before.
Well, if you ever have an afternoon spare, I would be willing to listen.
I think we may share the road soon. We'll learn a lot more about each other.
Yeah, reckon we won't be here much longer.
If there is anything you need to do in the city, I suggest doing it soon. I am preparing a party of delegates to leave in the next week or so.
Do you know what's to become of Althea?
She will be appropriately punished for her transgressions. There is nothing I could do about that.
Shame.
As for the dragon, unfortunately, nothing will be stopped around that project. It'd be wise to put it out of your mind entirely. You'll not get a second chance.
Just staring daggers at Cyan. So.
As for the business in the gloom, he turns to you. He says to you, "I hope that it is understood that that is not to be freely spoken about."
Of course.
If I may be so bold, I hope this does not seem as an insult, but why?
There are forces at play that would very much like to understand the mechanisms that you procured to get into the gloom. He sort of glances over at Hanira. You have a rift amongst you.
What's a rift?
A passage to the other side.
That doesn't sound good.
You're the one that brought us there.
He turns to you, Hanira, and says, there is a power you possess which is very, very strong. It has the capacity to cause a lot of problems, or solve a lot of problems. And in time, you'll know what course of action your path will lead.
Okay. Is
I
it
would. He said, "Sorry." He says, "I would not mess with any more portals for the meantime."
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you have any last questions before I leave? I will get in contact with you at the Silverleaf Inn if I need to.
I cannot wait.
If we need to contact you before then, what do we do? Or if we're ever split up?
He reaches into his cloak and procures out like a little wooden flute. It's like very small. It's only sort of maybe like 5 or 6 inches or so. Not like a full-size flute. Maybe only one key. With maybe 5 or 6 holes. Just blow that. I will hear you.
I have to stop myself, I'm sorry. Blow and he'll come.
Blow on my 5 or 6 inch flute. All right. Yeah. So that's what he says. And he turns to you all and gives a very gracious, deep bow.
I do not touch him on that.
And turns around and says, "I will see you all soon.
All right.
Rest well."
Cheers for your help. Again. Well,
It is no problem at all.
again for them. First time for me, maybe.
Yeah. He sort of saunters off, quite like almost like skipping.
Right. I would like a drink.
What a sea urchin that man is. That helps this story.
He's alright.
You cannot speak right now.
I can speak.
You are,
You
you are a sand nipper, and you will put your head in the sand, and you will quieten down until 3 sunsets, and then I will speak to you. He kind of
That's a very strange proverb.
fluffs his cloak and kind of saunters off a little bit, but you know.
Cyan,
Yeah.
do you want to be in a group?
Yeah. I like it.
Could have fooled me.
Last night, that's not what you do. You make decisions
Enslaving
together.
People is not what I do. What we agreed was that we didn't all have to agree on it. And if you wanted to go, you could go. If I wanted to stay, I could stay. And I stayed.
You know full well, stuff like that drags us all in. It's decisions we make together. This ain't gonna work if we don't work as a group.
Well, you should know here and now I'm not willing to enslave anything.
We weren't enslaving anything. It was
You were going
way.
to allow a creature's sentience to be robbed, to be used as a weapon to make things easier.
Had nothing to do with us.
The only thing that allows bad things to happen is for good people to do nothing.
Look, we've got important things to do ourselves. We can't get caught up in every little thing that happens around. We can't go sorting out every injustice that you see in the world as you go. We got bigger shit to deal with. I mean, look what's happened here. Tried to sort something out, not even made progress on it. And now our rapport is to shit.
Any favour Taran might have done for us, or any aid he might have given us as well, that's not going to happen anymore.
I know it's a bit more abstracted, a bit more detached. But this mission we're on is important. And people will live or die depending on what we do here. You have to look at the bigger picture. And put our success and this mission's success ahead of little squabbles.
It's not a little squabble, it's a dragon
It's one guy.
that can breathe fire.
And right now he can't. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I don't know that. I retract that. Blah, 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 blah. It's still just one thing. One living thing. People live, they die every day.
It's not about that, it's about using it.
Would you sooner see this whole continent turn to ash
That's
than
what that
one
would
person?
do.
Would you? No, listen to me. Would you rather see the whole continent turn to ash than have one person be enslaved?
It's not just the enslavement, it's turning it into a weapon that will be used to kill countless innocent people.
Look,
We're not going to agree on this.
fights happen regardless. What weapons are used? It's not worth jeopardizing our mission over that.
Agree to disagree. I'm going for a drink.
And perhaps before you go, we could just agree on one thing. The next time you do something, you think about the action that's going to have and the repercussions it could have on the rest of us. It is very selfish.
So you arrive at the Silverleaf Inn, and the guards have now since left. But there's still a lot of elves sort of lingering about, and as you arrive, there's a few cheers from the elves, and they sort of rush up to you, Cyan.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
A few of them are like, "Oh, they released you. What did you do?" It's like, yeah, hero.
I don't know what he did, but they don't like him, so we like him.
Political prisoner. Yeah, they were like they're sort of making out to be some political prisoner.
Look, I'm not that. I did something. I got caught. That's how it goes.
As you are sort of like standing outside the inn, one of the same person here in the area that you saw the barkeep talking to, he sort of stands over and stands nearby and says, "Hi, my name's Ilfas."
Can I have that in writing, please?
Ilfas.
Cool.
He says, the story of you being arrested has sort of sparked up a bit of a discourse amongst the residents of the city. He's saying this in Elven, by the way.
What kind of discourse? I say back in Elven.
Let's say injustice and discontent amongst our people. Anira, you can hear this. You can hear this conversation going on.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Cool. He says, If you ever need to meet some like-minded people, we have meetings here in the Sunlit Promenade. He hands you over a card.
I look at it.
It's a card that in Elvish says the Elven Brotherhood on it.
Ah, interesting.
If you wish to come hear some of our speakers, I'm sure that they will want to meet you as well.
When's the
and
next
hear your
meeting?
story. We have one tomorrow night.
I will try to attend.
I will take you from here then. I'll meet you here. Your friends are welcome to attend as well. Any friends of dissidents are welcome. I'd say.
I doubt they want that. I kind of whisper.
Very well. Well, I know where to find you. And he turns to the rest of you and says, farewell, in common, and then turns around and leaves. So you go into the inn?
Yep.
Sit down, have a drink. The rest of the party, same thing, drink? Or
Henning would like to actually head to the like. Is there the dock still open? Is there going to be anyone?
Yeah, there's people around. It's only about midday.
Okay, yeah. He just wants to head to the docks to see if he can find the ship again.
Cool. All right, let's actually have a break, shall we? And then we'll come back. We'll come back in 15 minutes.
All right.
And then,
Okay.
then we'll go into the second part. All right, cool.
All right.
So come back in 15 minutes.
Okay, see you in a bit, dissidents.
Right, welcome back. So just before the break, you had a sort of moment of oh dear, someone's been in trouble. But Cyan, despite how much he was trying to dig himself into his grave, was seemingly quite weirdly rescued.
Almost against his will.
Almost against his will, which is probably it's an interesting kind of event. But by Cadell, who managed to convince the Merchant Prince to allow him to take Cyan and the rest of the party away from Kelrius towards the Emerald City of Lenora, the capital city of the elves. For some reason, he didn't really make that very clear. That being said, you have now come back to the Silverleaf Inn, and it's kind of like been approached by some elf brotherhood who are maybe concerned about the issues going on in the city. Anyway, so you're now back at the inn. What would you all like to do?
Cyan is having a nice drink.
Oh yeah, you wanted Henning. You wanted to check out the
Yeah.
docks, didn't you?
I was to say I wanted to check the dock.
Okay. So, which docks are you going to? There's 2 docks in Kelrius.
I'll go to the west because it's closer.
That's fine. Right. So, are you asking around for the ship?
Well, is there like a central thing where all the ships would go?
Yeah. So you've got the customs house. Yeah, you've got like similar to in Port Edgerin. There's like a customs house place where you can find the location of all the ships.
Yeah, I'd like to go there.
Okie dokie. So you queue up for a little bit. You speak to one of the people at the counter, and you give the name of the ship, and he sort of begins to go through the files and folders, and he says, "I'm sorry, there's no ship here registered with that name."
You're kidding me. I was told it was. Do you have a separate dossier to the East Harbour?
Well, the East Harbour are more private docks. These are mostly for merchant vessels.
All right. So you don't keep any record of what goes to the East Harbour?
Well, we don't keep the records here. They'll be in the East Harbour.
God damn it! Just storms out.
Okay. As you're walking out, you begin walking through the markets of the West Docks. Just having a bit of a walk around. Out the corner of your eye, you're pretty sure you recognise someone at one of the market stalls, buying some fruits from a vendor. Where are we in my notes? You notice that sort of towering over one of the merchant vendors, is this absolutely huge guy, and you recognise him as Devo, who was the ship's cook on the ship that you're in. He's just buying a bag full of vegetables. But you see him, you notice him in the distance. He looks like he's just going about his daily business.
Henning's going to try to follow him for a little bit.
Okay.
Where he might go.
Make a stealth check for me.
Not my.
Make it a blind gem roll.
I was going to say, do you want it?
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Okay, so you watch as he begins to packs up his things and begins to walk through the West Docks, sort of in a easterly direction, kind of around the Shining Spire and the Old Ward, going this way. You're going to continue following him?
Yes, keep following him.
Okay, so you after a while you follow him into the Old Ward, and you cross over the Shining Spire, and he begins to head towards the East Harbour. After following him for a little bit, you do notice that he keeps glancing over his shoulder. He looks a bit agitated. You're not 100% sure whether he knows that you're following him or he knows that he's being followed somehow. But he hasn't made eye contact with you. He hasn't obviously recognized you as far as you can tell.
Okay, well I guess I'll just maybe back off slightly, but keep following.
Okay. I'll ask you to do a perception check for me as well, because then you'll start to be out of really close
Okay.
proximity.
Is that blind as well?
Yeah, you make that one a blind one. Okay. So after a sort of 20 minutes of following him down the main street of the East Harbour, there is an old lighthouse. You come up this way, and over here by the docks, there is like an old lighthouse, and then you notice just behind it in the sort of little like cove just here is like a little is the ship that you recognise from your voyage, sort of stashed away behind just out the way. Like unless you come here, you wouldn't really notice it.
Hmm.
And you notice there's a full crew just like on the ship. It's the ship itself is obviously big. A vessel that goes across the high seas from Orthaid. And it's been done up since you last saw it. They've almost made it into a bit of a floating fortress. Like it looks like it maybe like at least 10 or 15 crew live here. And on the top, you notice that as Devo walks over to the gangplank, you notice in the distance Vera walks up to him, the captain of the ship. She's wearing this sort of like quite. It's like a leather sort of sleeveless jacket, cloth trousers with like a sash around her waist. She's got like long brown hair. She's got like a small scar on her face, and she's talking to Diva about something.
Henning's just looking at her, it's furious. Just feel that anger that he felt when he was thrown overboard again.
Okay, well, yeah.
I don't really know. There's not much I can really do. So can it sort of just make a mental note of the location?
Yeah. You know where the location is now. I'll put it on the map.
Okay. He's gonna sort of just hesitantly, I suppose, just walk away because he knows he can't do this by himself.
Mhm.
And he's gonna head back to the inn.
Okay. So you head back to the inn. So what's everyone else doing during this time? Sort of for the rest of their day.
Avoiding Cyan and going to bed.
Oh
without
yeah,
talking
Cyan's
to him.
avoiding the rest of you as well. He's finding a corner to drink in.
Okay.
Being the rogue.
Cascus is like trying to like, maybe with Snag and Snot as well, trying to like salvage some kind of like deals or any credence here. I don't know what that would be. Establishing trade route maybe. That's a British accent, so maybe not. But yeah, like just trying to think of a way to not completely let this go two tits up.
Mm-hmm.
It might just amount to nothing, but he's just writing and talking to them.
Okay, cool. So Donya Sistine is obviously in the room when you arrive. She says, "How long am I gonna like? Are we still under house arrest? I've got things to do in the city."
You go. He's blithering idiot around us. It's exhausting.
I'm sorry. Is he okay?
He kind of slumps onto the chair. Well, he is fine, but you know, as long as he got his little 2 cents in, it is. He's just like frustrated, not really making much sense.
She says, "Oh dear. Well, and what's the situation with you and the mission? Are you here for a while?"
I do know. We are moving. We have been invited to move on to the Emerald City fairly soon. I'm not sure. There is a character who is supposed to be leading the expedition, but quite frankly, I do not trust him as far as I can throw him, and I do not know if as soon as we turn up to the next place, Cyan will just threaten that leader and just nearly get himself killed again. But their elves probably not. It is just not very good. But as far as I am aware, we are still doing what we are doing.
The Emerald City. Wow. I heard stories about it when I was a kid.
Yes, of its magnificence, I assume. It is the capital city, after all. It has to be pretty special.
The oldest city in the world.
oldest city in the world. No way. There
That's
is
what
no
they-
way to figure that
That's
out.
what the magisters say.
Well, Doña Sistine, would you want to go?
I'm not sure they would allow me in.
And why is that?
I'm not part of your delegation.
I suppose. But
Maybe one day.
oh, I cannot leave you. Yeah, no.
I have family who live in this city. They'll take care of me.
I do not mean to be. There is a high likelihood of some civil. It is not safe for you or your family. You can tell them to leave, especially for humans.
Where should I go? There's not that many places that are safe at the moment.
Hmm.
At least here, these elven walls have never been broken down before.
I'm sorry, I do not. It is too risky. I would very much encourage you not to. I do not know where to go. Can I do like a check to think of like ideas? He's not an elf, right? He's not from around there.
Make a society. But what you know about I mean, Kelrius may very well. I mean, for someone of high standing amongst humans and with a relatively wealthy family, I think this is probably the safest place for her, to be honest.
Mm.
Despite whether the Cascus thinks that's the case.
Mm.
She says, if I do stay here, you'll come back and visit, right?
If you would like me to, I think I am going to be gone for a long time from here. There are a lot of places in this continent and a lot of places to visit.
She says she sort of stands up and looks at you and says, "Get rid of that disguise. I want to see the real you."
He kind of looks a bit nervous, but allows it to kind of flitter away within the room.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
She says she sort of like kind of like strokes your horn. It sounds really good.
Oh.
I thought we agreed on fade to black for this kind of thing.
I did not mean it to sound like that. She basically says to you, I will miss you, you know, I'm getting quite fond of you.
As I am to you, but...
And, you know, helping me, taking me away from my dad.
It is the thing I want to do in life often, but the thing that is... I do not know, maybe Cyan has got on my head slightly, but that is the right thing to do. And in matters of the heart, I always think it is the right over the thing you want that is what you should do sometimes. Perhaps I am just too jaded in the field of love. But it is not right for me to take you along to these places. You will be in danger all the time. You should not like me. I am not good for you.
And yes, we don't really choose how we feel about that sort of thing.
No, we do not, but
no, I don't. I'm not an adventurer, Cascus. I was nervous enough leaving Port Edron.
I know, and I do not want you to. The last thing I want to do is put yourself or Snacks, not or anyone for that in harm's way anymore, not after Ugo.
Listen, you know, if you go, and after a while you decide that you don't want to come back, that's all right. But If you do, that would be nice. I'd like to
Well,
see you again.
Where could I find you?
I have family living in the old ward. If you just ask for me.
Oh, I do not like this. I do not think this is safe. What if they come in? What if there is unrest with the elves? You must promise me you'll take a ship as fast as you can. As he kind of caresses her hair slightly.
I promise. Not sure where I'll go.
Far away.
Do you know anywhere safe?
Well, I know a few, but not anymore. He was thinking in his head of purple bank with power of kind of branches. Probably not best
Yeah,
anymore.
sure.
If you go to Kaz, there is it's a city on the northern coast of Kopeni. This is fanciful. It is so far away. There is a place there called the Golden Orange. It is an inn of sorts, a place for the lost and the broken. They took me in when I was very low and did not deserve help, and they will look after you, and they would let me know. I would find out if you were there.
Okay. If I do leave, I'll try and leave a message for you.
Please do. Please.
She gives you a hug.
He hugs back, and it lingers, I assume.
Yeah, you can just kind of feel her sort of her eyes beginning to tear up a bit on your shoulder. After a moment, she sort of pulls back and sort of rubs her eyes a bit and just goes behind the screen and just sort of goes to bed, just curls up.
Where's Snack and Snot?
They're just out doing errands.
Okay.
You're effectively. Are you trying to start up a bit of a base of operations here?
I think he's gonna try to, but I don't know, because I think pretty unstable, right? I get.
The market's going to be unstable anywhere you go at this point.
No. I mean, the city. It strikes me as a little bit of a knife's edge.
Yeah.
And with the dragon as well.
But you are in the most sort of potentially risky area, being at the inn, but other parts of the city are a lot safer.
Okay.
This is the part of the city that the reason the tension's so high is because the policing is so high. It's not necessarily dangerous in the city.
Fine. Okay. Well. Okay. Yeah, I think he'll try and get him to start up a base of operations. Yeah. And,
all right. So
selling the goods that we discussed previously.
How much gold do you want to put into it?
I've got 300, right?
Yeah.
Probably 200.
You're gonna put
maybe.
200 into it.
I think
all right. That'll be enough for you to buy some property.
Okay.
You can buy an office with a bit of storage, somewhere probably in the East Harbor.
Okay.
And all right, so in the next few days you can sort of that can just be what you're doing.
Yeah.
So say 200 gold, and you'll get a reasonably sized sort of little office / warehouse that you can start to.
Where was it? Sorry again. It was
in the East Harbor.
Okay.
If I put it on the map, what would you want to call it?
I think you'd want it to be how about hold on, let me just play around these letters quickly. It's CSS or something. CSF and Co or something. So Snag, Snot and Gaskets. CCS and Co or something. Oh no, if it's CCS limited or something, I don't know.
That's fine. That's okay. That's fine. It sort of looks like Cascus anyway.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
Very convenient.
All right, let's just do that for now. If you want to change the name later, you can.
Fine.
So, all right, so you get that. What's everyone else doing? So you got, let's say over the next couple of days, you just sort of have a few days to just mellow out and just do whatever you need to do to get yourself ready for potential adventure oncoming.
I want to go to that meeting.
I thought you were going to go to the dragon again. I want to go back to the dragon. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, Elf?
This time, we're not helping.
You're going to go to the meeting?
Yeah.
All right. Hanera, you know about this potential meeting?
I don't want to go to the meeting. I just want to leave the city as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into any trouble.
No, yeah, but you know that Cyan and this person talked, so that's information that you potentially have. But
Yeah, I mean, hearing it, have you told us this scenario or not?
I would probably tell you without when he goes.
When he goes or before he is?
When he goes, well, just the time that he's not there.
okay.
In secret, I'd tell you.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you can always find time to tell. All right, so if you're gonna wait until Cyan goes, then so that'll be the next day. Is anyone doing anything in the meantime?
Henning's going to be sort of spying on that ship every day when he can, just so he can overhear any conversations that might give him some ideas.
So getting really, really close to it's gonna be tricky because the actual part about where it is you have to sort of like climb along the sort of wall, like sandbank for a bit before you go to the old lighthouse that's sort of just there. So they'll be able to see you sort of climbing along quite an open bit if you wanted to get close enough to hear what's going on there. But if you're just spying on them from a distance, that's no problem. Do you have like a telescope or a telescopic lens or anything?
Probably not.
Because you can buy one, but the shops will have one.
Oh, let me just double check. I haven't got one. Yeah, no, I haven't got one. Yeah, I guess I'll buy one.
I don't know what the name for it is in. I thought.
Just trying to see if I can find anything.
I'll say like you can buy a really really durable one for a gold.
Okay, I'll spend 1 gold on that.
Okay. So that will give you a +2 circumstance bonus to perception checks that involve sight.
Okay.
From a distance. So make me another perception check for the next day.
Okay.
I'll tell you what sort of what your.
Okay, so I suppose just add 2 to this.
Yeah.
Blind GM roll.
No, just do it in the open this time. That's okay.
So 17.
17. So you sort of watch them for a couple of hours. They look like they're starting to fill the ship up with stocks.
Shit.
It might. They don't look like they're particularly rushed about it, but they are starting to prepare for a voyage.
Okay. What would be the best? Is there a way we can find out where they're going? Would that information be anywhere, or are we gonna have to?
By the looks of it, they're docking kind of illegally. So they're probably under the radar. So they've probably not signed into the port authorities.
Okay.
Or they have people that they bribed, like guards that they bribed to not like do anything.
Okay.
So as far as you can tell, like going to the East Harbor, I'll say that you go to the East Harbor as part of this like surveillance process, and like also ask around for them, and they don't have any information either. So by the looks of it, they're just restocking on the down low. Chances are, I mean, you're quite you're a smart guy. Like it looks like they might be preparing for more nefarious acts. Like they look like they might very well be preparing for some piracy. And they're currently flying, like the ship, the flag that they're flying under is under the flag of the Adna Merchant Company, but that's suspicious because their ship isn't registered anywhere.
Okay. And he sort of thinks to himself, Vance would be a really good time for you to show up now. But I don't really know what to do then, because it's suppose you could tell the group. Well, when the group's next door together, you could tell the group. See
Yeah,
if we
well,
could come up with a solution.
Okay, so that night, I mean, you return back and everyone's sort of returned. There's like obviously an air of tension amongst the party now. But yeah, you have some time to like broach that conversation with people in the evening. So yeah, you're all sat around, sort of having some food.
So, what's everyone been up to today?
Looking forward to getting this city behind me, quite frankly. To kind of choose quite aggressively on a bit of meat.
I went for a walk.
Just trying to find some work while I'm here.
Ah, work, you say? I'm not actually sure this is really your skill set. But just something I thought I'd mention. I've been skulking around the East Harbour. You may recall that ship that I mentioned I was thrown from? Well, it's here. It's in the East Harbour. Illegally, by the looks of it.
Huh.
I was rather hoping to get my book back that they stole from me.
I thought we were meant to be keeping our head down.
We can. We can do this silently. Quickly.
I imagine you're implying I do this silently and quickly.
Well, the book would be helpful. For, there's a lot of helpful potions and alchemist bits in there. Might be able to conjure something up for you if I get it back. I also need to find out where they're going, or where they're heading to, so if you find that out too.
I'm doing something tonight. Find me tomorrow and I'll have a look at it.
Okay. Obviously I'll come with you for this.
Oh, of course.
Not going to leave you to do it by yourself. But I would greatly appreciate it.
Just don't wear anything heavy. Don't want you giving it away.
I never really do.
And no guns.
Oh. Well, I wasn't planning on fighting while we were on there. There's a lot of them, and I don't think we'd stand much of a chance.
Still, though, guns allowed.
Guns are allowed.
You ain't got a good record with them either.
Hey, I'm relearning it. I used to be quite the marksman back in Northgate.
I hate to be that tiefling, I suppose I would use in my own instinct, but I do not know if this is the best time, Henning.
But when? This might be the last time I get a chance to get it back. I don't know where they're going. They're planning something. They're planning to go somewhere, but I don't know where, and I have no idea if I'll ever find them again.
I am just slightly concerned that things will go wrong. And
they have my father's book.
I know.
I'm not letting them keep it.
Last night, literally the same thing happened. We have some idealistic wannabe over here that wants to do something, and then we all get in trouble, and it ruins our plan.
Well, to be fair, we won't get any more in trouble with Taran for this one. They're not exactly here legally.
He could kill us.
They could kill us. That is true.
Then I go alone. Again.
Fine. That sounds like a great idea.
You'll probably need me there, just because I don't know whether you'll know which book it is. It's not exactly obvious.
It looks like all the other books. Why don't I just grab whatever books I can? Or if I can't find any books, I find wherever it is they're going.
Well, if you are on there, it is inscribed with my father's name, Norman Dyer. But
Norman.
Yes. Norman Dyer. Don't forget the last.
Can think of it. I'm not sure you've told us your last name before.
Have I not?
Henning.
I think you've only just ever said Henning.
Well, what's your last name?
Amasteel.
Oh yes, you have mentioned. You have mentioned that. Actually.
Yeah, it's a pretty normal way to introduce yourself. Just say both names.
Henning Dyer. Yeah,
I
yes,
just
Cyan.
noticed you've got a wonderful case of nominative determinism, and I mean this in the nicest way.
What you're going to have to explain that one.
You know,
I mean-
Henning, he got kicked off the ship, and he,
Yeah, he is one who dies.
Yeah.
It's a die.
Since when did we all take? What is these words? You use complex words. Simple, please. I am simple man.
well, he was breathing, and now he's not.
I see. Why did you not say that?
Because that's
I just remembered we still have 2.5 sunsets left. Good night.
He's. I think he's really keeping to that. By the sounds.
Do I actually have to put my head in the sand? I don't think there's any sand here.
It's, he means just don't talk to it. Essentially.
Okay.
And then so in cans, like, come on.
But yes, this does mean quite a lot to me.
Then I'll get you that book. And if I can't find the book, I'll find the shipping manifest, or wherever it is they're going.
Preferably both, as I don't particularly want them getting away.
Preferably both.
Preferably.
I will probably prioritize the shipping manifest or where it is they're going.
The manifest is probably more priority, yes, because at least then
Because
we
then,
still
yeah.
know where they've gone, and I can get the book back at a later date. Provided they've still got it and haven't sold it like the morons they are. That book
And
is
if they have,
basically
it'll probably be
priceless.
in their letters or their manifest.
I doubt they would have recorded it down. They're not exactly the brightest bunch.
You don't think they sold it to, good old MP over here,
Well, I'd hope not.
to help with a certain mechanical thing?
Oh. I don't know. Could anything of that was in that book be used to power that dragon? I don't know.
I mean,
Henning know that? He's probably looked at the book.
you've looked at the book, but there's so much information in there that there's certainly stuff that could be useful.
It's plausible. However, I like to think that they haven't sold it to them. That would be not good for any of us. There's some alchemist bits in there that really shouldn't be available to people like Taran. Or to any High Lord, really.
Even our High Lord is a merchant prince.
Merchant Prince. Merchant Prince, like that.
Alright. Right. Well, I'm off. I will see you tomorrow.
You're going to the meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
But I would like to. I suggested it, but I'd like to try and earn some income over the days.
That's
if we've got
that's
space
fine.
as
You
well.
you know the DCs for it. So Kelrius is a level 7 city, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's what we said before.
So the highest you can do is level 6. Level 6. So
Okay.
do a level 6 thing for me then. You know the DCs and stuff for that, right?
Yes. Would I be able to just do a level 5?
You can, yeah. If you want to do less, it's fine.
Okay. 'Cause yeah, I can guaranteed succeed at level 5
Okay.
if I use my assurance.
Okay.
So it would just be a gold a day.
Cool. So you find some work. That's cool. Right. So you go off. You meet with Ilfas, and a couple of other elves who are waiting outside the Silverleaf Inn. And they say, "It is good to see you, Cyan." And they nod to you. And Ilfas says, "These are a few of my brothers from the Brotherhood."
Did I tell you my name?
We spoke with the barkeep.
I see.
She is part of our group.
Right.
So do you wish to come?
Sure, let's be off.
Very well. So you continue on into the Sunlit Promenade, a bit further in. After about sort of maybe 5-10 minutes of walking, you're taken to this house, which is seemingly just someone's house. It's quite large, with a couple of people stood outside. And then you're led in through. It's quite well decorated in a sort of elven style. Like a lot of the seating is sort of on the ground. The walls, it's very minimalist in there. Pretty much just places to eat and sleep, and not that much like absolute crazy decoration on the walls. But what art there is, it's very like it fits with the room very well.
Very simple, brutalist type stuff is what I'm imagining.
Yeah, sort of like minimalist, sort of almost feng shui type situation. You're led down into a basement. Where there's maybe about like 20 or 30 elves, all sort of murmuring amongst themselves. And Ilfas goes down, and they all sort of look, and as they see that you've come down, they all sort of begin murmuring amongst themselves again. You hear a few of them saying things like, "That's the one who was arrested recently. Yes, I saw him being escorted into the Shining Spire," etc. That sort of thing. Ilfas goes up to this like a soapbox that's sort of at the far end of the room, and says, sort of holds his hand up, and everyone sort of hushes. And he says, "Greetings, brothers," all in Elvish, of course. He says, "Greetings, brothers. Thank you all for coming to the meeting tonight. I am Ilfas. I am the leader of the Brotherhood. Tonight we have a couple of esteemed guests. We have Venail, who has recently been arrested for standing against the merchant prince, but he was freed after the charges were dropped. And a few people clap amongst themselves. And our other speaker tonight is someone who we have been trying to get for a long time. Someone who has fought for Cyan rights in this city for many years, and has come here at great risk for his family to speak with you all tonight. So you're Cyan, you're just sort of stood on the side. He says, "I would very much like to introduce my good friend, Duranda Ignis." And you watch as a elf, a very tall sort of elf figure in a cloak walks up to the room. He's wearing very fine clothes, stands very tall, and has absolutely huge long blonde hair, which is sort of almost tied up into a big kind of almost bun at the back, with like a absolutely massive lion's mane looking type of situation. By his side are a couple of guards, and the whole room like bursts into a massive round of applause. Obviously you recognize this figure, Cyan,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of memories start flooding back. Duranda goes up on stage. I don't really have like any music that is like suitable.
The Imperial March, baby.
Yeah.
Relax, don't do it.
Nyx, you feel Nyx's like invisible hand sort of like clasping onto your shoulder. As
Cyan's hands are bleeding as his nails are digging in.
a bunch of the elves sort of start clapping. He goes up on stage and sort of nods and gives gracious deep bow, and says, "My fellow elves," and he looks over, "we stand on the precipice of our destiny. For too long, you have all allowed the merchants to take root in your city, to exploit your resources, and to hold you all down with their gold. They do not belong here. They do not share our values or our traditions. They only care about profits and their own gain. This is a holy city, and a city that belongs to the elves." And you hear like the whole room begin to burst into applause. He puts a hand up and the room silences themselves again. But we, the true heirs of this land, the children of the forests, we are the ones who truly belong here. We have lived in harmony with this land for thousands of years. We have protected it, nurtured it, and made it thrive. And yet, these outsiders come in and seek to profit from us. And again, like there's obviously no irony lost on Duranda Ignis, because obviously he's someone who lives in the
I very
lap of
well,
luxury.
I very well know. Mm-hmm.
All these elves here are sort of almost being driven into a bit of a fanatical rage, listening to him talk, because like to them he is like effectively royalty. And the fact that he's come here like on his own volition, is very impressive to them. He says, "The time has come for us all to take a stand. House Ignis will pledge themselves to the protection of Kelrius. We will be the protectors of this holy city, and we intend to hold on to it. We will reclaim our city, our culture, and our heritage. And we'll show these merchants that we will not be silenced, we will not be bought off, and we will not be pushed aside. The Elf Brotherhood is your voice. It's your strength. It's your will to fight for what is rightfully ours. We'll not stand idly by and watch as our city is taken from us. We'll fight with all our might to take it back." And a whole number of people, again, the applause continues. "We are building a fleet to take this city. You must do everything in your power to make sure that this attack succeeds." Someone from the back shouts out, When are you going to do it?" He says, "There is a storm brewing amongst the merchants. Once they are weak, we will strike. I understand that many people will meet their end, but if everyone plays their part, this city will be returned to its rightful owners." And someone else shouts out, "What about the Padrin? Is he on board with this?" And Duranda puts his hand up and says, and someone else says, "And what about your father?" And Duranda like sort of also looks over and says, "Both my father and the Padrin have not yet done what needs to be done. So, as your voice, and as the elf who wishes to stand alongside you, put your strength behind me, and we will do everything we can." A few of them murmur amongst themselves. After a moment, Ilfas sort of comes out and says, "Thank you, Duranda. Thank you very much, High Lord." And Duranda turns to him and says, "For anything for you, old friend." Duranda sort of is like looking around the crowd. Is like looks over, and he sort of is kind of meeting eyes with everyone in the crowd. Are you like looking up at him?
Oh, my eyes have been fixed on him from the moment I saw him.
Okay, yeah, he sort of like looks over at the crowd, and he just sort of meets your eyes for a brief second, like, and just like passes you over. Like there's absolutely no recognition on his face. So the meeting goes on. It's like a number of elf people from the local area. As Duranda and the guards go back, sort of to the back of the house. After a while, Ilfas comes over to you and says, I hope the meeting wasn't too much for you. I assume you understand now where our predicament lies."
Absolutely. I'm still staring at Duranda.
Yeah, well, he says, "Come, Duranda wishes to meet you. He's heard tales of your treatment at the hands of the Merchant Prince, and would like to know what the details of that was."
Very well.
So he sort of takes you into a back room. Duranda's guards come and sort of frisk you. Have you brought your weapons with you to this meeting?
Probably not, because
Yeah.
Cyan didn't expect Ignis to be fucking
Yeah.
here.
That's understandable. So yeah, they frisk you. They don't find anything, and they lead you into the back room, where Duranda is sort of just looking out of a window, on the sort of top floor, of the middle floor of the building, just at the street outside. It's a bit of a rainy night, with his back turned. He turns around and says, what was your name? Vinail?
I prefer Cyan, but Vinail's fine.
It is good to meet you. He extends out a hand for you to sort of kiss.
Cyan kisses it.
Okay. He says, "What did you think about the meeting? Yeah, what did you think about my my speech?"
It's eye-opening to see someone from such a noble background speaking to the lowliest among us and aiding it with injustice.
I am but the humble servant of the Cyan people. You understand? What is mine is yours, and I am your servant. I care about the common person. No injustice is too much. Well, no injustice is not enough. All injustice will be punished.
I'm sure it will. But does that extend only to elves? I'm sure there are many people who suffer, who lack our pointed ears.
When it comes to the Sayonara, there is something to be said about mercy. He looks at you. He says, have you ever been to Adenira?
I've lived near there my whole life.
So you are from my family's house?
My family would travel.
I see. I'm having trouble placing your accent. Your manner of speaking Elvish is different to the common people that I normally speak to.
I had very limited education. All I really knew was how to speak to fellow elves and dredge up deals. I wasn't really taught proper speech.
And now you're working for the Merchant Prince, Axos Kutaban, is that correct?
He's given me a job. I'll put it at that.
A job which you can be convinced to potentially betray for our people's cause.
If it helps out the common people.
Of course. I think we could get to know each other quite well, Cyan.
I would like that very well.
I treat my allies very well indeed. But I treat my enemies, well, let's say, you don't want to be my enemy. He looks at you up and down. He's sort of like, there's something in his eyes which there's something about it that he's like feeling a bit weirded out by this conversation, as if like he does. There's something about you which he has clicked, but he can't quite place it. He says that, my apologies. Your presence. Have we met before?
I wouldn't expect you to remember such a person of low standing. I do believe that we've come across each other before.
Ah, I must have been touring the lands near your home.
That would be it, yes.
Understandable. I do tend to go on many charitable missions. Well, I will be in contact. Cyan.
Just Cyan.
Just Cyan. I will be in contact. My one of my acquaintances will be in contact with you on your journey to the Emerald City, I hear.
One of your contacts.
I have many contacts. Contacts within the Emerald City, contacts within the delegation that you'll be traveling with.
May I ask who they are so I may liaise with them if need be?
You may not. They
Very
will make
well.
themselves known to you. Well, now that we have met, I think we could make a good alliance. There is the perfect storm brewing for us to take back what is rightfully ours.
Yes. Taking back what's ours.
Very well. It's nice to meet you. Have a good trip back.
It was my pleasure, my lord. And Cyan turns and he leaves, and his face is just beet red as soon as he's out the door.
Cool. So, Hanira, you told everyone that Cyan was going to this thing, right?
Yep.
So is everyone going to be up and about when Cyan gets back?
Henning probably will be.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah, you're sort of just, I guess, just chilling downstairs in the bar, and you see Cyan coming in, looking mortified. all the
More
color.
furious.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just like anger.
What have you done now?
Cyan's going to ask the barkeep for a drink, give them a little look, and say, "Nothing, I've just had a long think about things."
Right.
Can Cyan kind of give a little, like, look to Henning, like, something's happened?
Yeah, I think you've probably travelled with each other long enough that you can sort of make
Yeah.
those muscle.
All right. Come sit down. Tell us where you've been.
I can't exactly do that, and Cyan's gonna kind of... He's not left the bar. I can't do that.
Oh, God. Is there anybody coming after us? That's all I think we need to know.
No one's coming after us. We're fine. We're fine. We're all fine. Everything's fine.
Okay, except it's not fine. So, did you want to explain in private?
Is the barkeep keeping an eye on us? as
Make
we're talking?
make a perception check.
19.
Doesn't seem to be. She doesn't seem to be that interested, to be honest. She's just going off, doing her own thing.
Cyan's gonna kind of nod upstairs.
All right, Henning picks up his drink and follows.
Is everyone else going up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cascus is probably in his room.
Still
Alright,
still
so-
one night left.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. So, alright, so you go upstairs, you find somewhere private to talk, and you close the door behind you.
He's here.
Who?
Ignis, he's here. He's fucking here. It's right there. I didn't have my fucking knife on me. I didn't have it fucking on me. That could have been it. It could have been sorted. It could have been fine.
Could you
Not
go
sure, though.
back with a knife?
No, it'd be suspicious.
Remember what we said. We need to play this smartly.
He's planning an attack.
Then that will be your opportunity.
No, he's planning an attack on here. He's got a fleet ready.
Well, that's
Yes.
what I mean.
He was speaking with an elven radical group.
I mean, a battle, surely. Distracted.
Maybe we should just leave the town before all this kicks off.
Not before I get my book.
He's keeping an eye on us. He's sending someone. He thinks I'm an ally. He's
Exactly.
sending someone who will know me and will make himself known to, well, themselves known to me. They're keeping an eye on us. He almost clocked me.
Do you reckon there's any way we could get word out?
I don't know who it is. The only other person I would contact is Cadell, but I don't know if he's with Ignis.
Just thinking, if we can get word out to, the authorities around here.
If we tell
Let them
the
know Ignis is here.
authority- If we tell the authorities, they're only going to crack down harder on the elves. And then the elves are going to get more stirred up, and then they're going to fight back harder.
Or they actually capture Ignis. Maybe avoid a war altogether.
If they capture Ignis and kill him, then they'll probably start a war.
If they capture Ignis, if they fail, I'm the only one he told about certain things, about the delegate. He told the rest of them about the fleet, but I'm the only one he told about the delegate. If he's caught, I will be under suspicion, or if they come after him, I will be under suspicion.
I don't know. I mean, every elf in that meeting knows he's here and what he's going to do, right?
He spoke to me personally. He wanted me personally.
But still, everyone there knew, right? That's a lot of mouths to keep shut. Maybe he wants it to get out. Not sure why. Maybe he wants to provoke something.
Either way, it's proof. His life goes against the mission, he dies. He has to. We can't kill him yet. We can't take him down yet. He's a Shadesteel user.
We'll get him. Cyan. Don't worry.
We need to get this information to the patron.
Hank, quiet down.
Woof.
Snacks needed.
But
Snag.
we can't tell anyone else. Otherwise we're fucked.
So what about the attack then?
Pardon?
Do we just let it happen?
We can't tell the Merchant Prince, otherwise Ignis gets away or starts a war. The elves rile up, start a riot.
I mean, if Ignis doesn't know about the dragon, That attack could go very poorly for him. Maybe that gets this over with quick. Ignis fleet goes down.
It's weak.
Frees this fleet up to do its thing.
It's... I don't know. The Merchant Prince isn't going to trust us.
Well, no, he won't. He won't believe a word we say. We're not even welcome in this city.
Guards won't trust us. The Merchant Prince won't trust us. The decision lies with if we tell Cadell or not.
Well, Dell is somewhat trustworthy. They did save your life, albeit in exchange for a favor.
How does Ignis get on with the Padron?
He says the Padron doesn't know about the fleet. Do I know anything about Ignis's relationship with the Padron?
Make a society check with a with +2 circumstance bonus.
Hang on. Let me just...
Hanera, you can do one as well.
A society check
Mm-hmm.
with +2.
Yes. Nice. Yeah, Cyan, you've not been rolling very well, but so Cyan, you know a little bit. You know that so House Ignis has sort of over the last 50 years or so really grown in strength. After teaming up with House Kaidos. So there's a bit of like an alliance that is sort of threatening to overthrow the balance of power in the region between House Kaidos and House Ignis. And House Kaidos is technically the sort of leader of the military, really. Like he's like Daewin Kaidos is effectively the shogun, whilst the Padron is like the emperor, like a child emperor, doesn't have that much power. So House Ignis and House Kaidos have more recently been overstepping various bounds. But Hanera, you know a little bit more. So Hanera, you know that that Duranda Ignis's father, who's called Terranar Ignis, he is actually quite reserved and doesn't like making massive risks. Even though he's been part of like House Ignis being like having gained loads of power recently, you sort of know that Duranda is a lot more like looking for glory and looking for honor and looking for to make a name for himself, whilst Terranar Ignis has sort of done all that. So if there is a fleet that has been made that with the express purpose of attacking Kelrius, then Duranda Ignis is potentially like undermining his father and the Emperor at the same time, which could get himself in a lot of trouble. It could potentially signal that he's planning on trying to take power over House Ignis.
I relay my stuff. Is Hanera relaying his stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
I say we call Cadell.
Yeah, I mean, if he's if we can trust that he really is, okay, crosses his fingers, like Bezzy mates with the Padron. Seems like he wouldn't be for this.
We have to ensure that it doesn't go too far, otherwise Ignis retreats and we can't get to him. I'm gonna grab the flute.
Okay.
Just make sure that you don't put your personal vendetta above everything else.
Cyan doesn't say anything and he plays the flute.
Okay, as you blow into the flute, it sort of at first like makes a hollow sound as if it's not really catching, but then it sort of makes quite a sweet, quite low melody, even without you having to like play that much. Like a low sort of hum that is barely audible. And after about 5 seconds, you hear a knock on the door.
I open.
Cadell's standing there. You called?
We need to discuss something urgent, somewhere secret.
Secret. Is this not secret?
I don't know. Do you have any special weird ways of ensuring no one listens in?
I think if anyone was,
I might actually. Hold on.
Yeah, go on.
Let me just read the spell.
I think if anyone was listening in, they'd already be clued in, right?
Well, Cascus is next door, and I don't think he's heard.
Cascus is, yeah, just bomb chicken. You could just hear them going at it. Just awkwardly, like Cadell's standing there, like, what?
Just like bang on the wall. Shut up!
We're having an important meeting here. Party meeting.
Sad
doesn't-
nippers.
I don't even think he knows like that they're all doing this conversation. So.
No, yeah, this conversation, yeah, is out of Cascus's shot.
It doesn't make things silent. So, carry on.
Okay, Cadell sort of just looks around and raises an eyebrow and says, I'm not sure what powers you think I have, but if people really want to listen, they can listen. Yeah, I don't think you're that special, any of you, that anyone's going to be listening that intently.
You don't know what I know.
Hmm? He raises another eyebrow.
Ignis is in the city.
He raises a third eyebrow?
Where did that come from?
Oh, sorry, my shape-shifting. This is, he looks at you and says, which one?
Veranda.
Tyrande Ignis in the city. That's the first I'm hearing of it.
He's with the Brotherhood of Elves, or the Elven Brotherhood, whatever they want to fucking call themselves.
Oh. Hmm.
He's talking of a fleet to take the city.
Well, that is what the Merchant Prince has been warning about all this time. It's not that much of a surprise.
He said that he's going to have someone in our retinue as we travel to the Emerald Cities.
Oh, really? And what did he ask of you?
To betray the mission.
Hmm. The peace between the humans and our elves has been long, hard fought amongst our people. Amongst all of you. I have made it my duty to try and harbour the relationships between elves and humans for a long time now. I'll make sure the Padrin knows about this.
Carry on.
What, as for letting the Merchant Prince know,
He won't trust us.
I'm not sure he entirely trusts me either.
It seemed close.
I have known him for a long
Diplomatic
time.
relations.
I knew his father. We made business arrangements together in the past. I am not entirely sure what I can do. I will let the Padrin know. But as for everything else, leave it in my purview. Do not do anything rash.
Oh, that's the hardest thing I've ever been told not to do.
No harm will come to the Ignis boy. Do you understand?
Can I glean, like, if he's implying, like, he knows something, or...
Yeah, that's a sense motive. So, is that just diplomacy?
I don't know, I've never used sense motive.
Let's have a look.
Sorry, I've done it about 15 times. I think it is.
Perception.
But no, it's a
Perception.
secret perception check, and it's because yeah, that's fine. Sense motive.
So, private general.
Private. No, GM
Secret,
blind.
secret perception check for you.
Blind general. It's really hard to read him. It could be. It's a coin flip. He could like he's looking intently at you, and he says that. He's either picked something up in your like that you have some sort of beef with him in the way that you've spoken, or that he knows more than he's giving off.
He needs to be punished, but not today.
All traitors to the realm will have their comeuppance. The Padron's dynasty has not lasted for so long without precautions against the High Lords. Occasionally, High Lords get too big for their boots and decide to go their own way. And at that point, it is the duty of people like me, as loyal servants of the Padron, to make sure that they do not get too big for their boots. I will speak to the Padron about this. As for the rest of our arrangement, nothing has changed. You are still to leave the city with me.
And I'm still not allowed to know why the Padron wants me?
Who says it's necessarily the Padron who wants you?
Okay. That just made things more confusing.
Well, all will be explained in due time. Trust me, I'm on your side. He turns around and says, "Keep safe out there. Don't go to any more strange meetings. You never know what you might find." And then he leaves.
Cyan's just faces against the wall and he is just growling into it.
Yep. All right. So it's coming to another night. We could just finish off there and come back to it next time.
Yeah, sure.
I know it's like 15 minutes, unless there's anything anyone wanted to do. Like,
No, I don't have anything to do.
okay, cool.
I'm
So,
alright, I would have stabbed someone, but I can't do that, so...
okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks for playing, everyone.
Thanks for
Alright.
running.
Yeah, thanks for running.
I'll see y'all
Thanks
next
for running.
time. So we'll finish up in Kelrius and then start on the leaving the city next session.
Okay.
Cool.
Haha, that's what you think.
Well, we'll see. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it might be like another 10 sessions in Kelrius.
I'm gonna go back to Port Edron.
We're just gonna hang out there for the rest of the campaign.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do obviously like Henning's ship thing as well next session.
Oh, yeah.
so.
Cassius isn't going to be there because I'm not going to be there. But maybe worth just having a chat, Mike, about like what's going on there.
That's cool. That's cool. Maybe next session will be mostly focused around Henning's ship then.
Miss ship.
All right. In that case, do you want to the thing of the stream?
All right.
Thank you for watching.
See you next week.
Emma Dalers.
Emma Dale